So you want to know what made this the biggest Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 patch of all time? I'm going to talk about it today because there is quite a lot to get through, and I don't have all the time in the world, which is honestly as much as you'd think I'd need to talk about a 20-page patch note update, followed by 5 days later, another multiple-page update, including new characters, stages, and more. It's insane how much has been added to Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 in such a short amount of time, as well as all the insane amount of changes to the character, to the balancing, to the modes, additions to modes, and more in an insane update to NASB2. I'll be talking about single-player modes, I'll be talking about multiplayer modes, I'll be talking about the new stages, I'll be talking about the character balancing, as well as specifically the biggest changes and updates to characters in this balance patch, as well as the new DLC fighter, Rocksteady. So strap in for this one, maybe grab a drink and a snack, and gamers, let's get right into the newest patch for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. Gauntlet Mode was just added to Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, and this is a fight to the end. You have to fight every single character in the game. You have 1 life to do it, and there's even multiple types of difficulties to do it as well. So if it is something that you want to complete, but maybe you're just not as good as those top players, or maybe you're a little kid or something, you just want to have a good time with it, or whatever the reason. There's even the easy difficulty as well as the crazy impossible difficulty. So however you want to complete this thing, it's entirely up to you. And it is a load of fun. I've already played a little bit here and there, but the patch being so new, I haven't had a full time to truly appreciate it just yet. You definitely should give it a try if single player is your bag. Squad battle was added the earliest, and it is really cool. You can battle with up to 3 characters at once, each with 1 stock against an opponent, and it is much faster than other competitive modes like it from other games like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and this mode can be played online in a lobby system with a friend, and it is pretty damn cool. It's also really fun, so you should totally give it a try. New Game Plus is really cool. It just adds even more content to an already good story mode, and I'm definitely going to be streaming it every so often because I already like this game as is, so having a higher difficulty and harder options and more content for it is always appreciated. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 also added new stages once again, and some of them aren't currently available just yet, so I'll just talk about the ones that are currently available in the game as of the newest update that we got with actually playable stages is new variants like Rooftop's new moving platform layout, the dual plat layout for Tremorton, the new Pariah's Keep re-plat layout, as well as new platform layouts for Tremerton and Cemetery, each with 3 plat and moving plat updates respectively. These are really cool to see as it gives us even more options for the competitive scene to have a new stage list, and something that might be added really soon is a new ranked mode stage list as well, which would be really cool to see. And of course, we have to talk about Rocksteady. Rocksteady, one of the newest and biggest additions to Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. And whether or not you like his inclusion, I think we all can agree on his gameplay is some of the best this game has ever had to offer. This character has a ton of projectiles, a ton of movement options. He's fun to move about in the air. He's fun to hit people on the ground. He's got movement tech into the air from the ground. This character has it all, and even with a cool super animation, he's just got all the beats to be a very fun and potentially even really good character in the competitive side of things. No matter if you're a casual or a competitive player, I think everybody's going to have a lot of fun playing this character, and I already am. So by the time this video goes live, definitely want to check out my live stream on YouTube and on Twitch. You'll be able to see me playing this character a ton, figuring him out, and just having a lot of fun. So if you'd like to do that too, after this video, come watch me. And now for the patch notes. 1.9 added so much balance changes to the game, it's actually insane. And when paired with the 1.10 patch that came with it, as well as this Rocksteady patch, the entire game has changed. So many of the big top tiers have gotten nerfed, bug fixes have happened, as well as there being new stage layouts that we can use for competitive play. The entire game is changed. And so let's get into the nitty-gritty of what was changed and altered for the characters in Nick Brawl 2. Starting off, one big character that has seen a lot of buffs was Mecha Plankton. Mecha Plankton had one nerf that happened to a lot of the heavier characters, which was the weight reduction from 1.18 to 1.1, as well as crazy buffs to a lot of his moves, those including light back air, light neutral air getting frame data changes, and his neutral special. He has more movement with neutral special, more killing potential with back air, and a faster startup with neutral air. This character has so many better options of his already really good moves that realistically, it's kind of odd to see this change, but for the players playing Mecha Plankton, this is going to be a huge boost in his win rate. So if you like Mecha Plankton and you weren't shown him before, he's definitely going to be good this season, so you better try him out. Now here's the big one. Aang got a ton of nerfs. Widely seen as the best uncontested character in all of NASB2, Aang had so many good options between his charged up air as well as his... With these changes, charge up air is no longer a combo tool into itself, has a smaller animation with the water ball, meaning that now you can actually punish the hurt box inside of it. So that overall is a good change. They also changed his charged up strong, making it have increased ending lag, so that's actually more punishable. They added end lag to charge forward, so that it has end lag punishable frames, as well as light up air, which they adjusted the hitbox position, and light back air, where they made the hitbox of it smaller. To accommodate for all of the insane nerfs he got to his general previous game plan, they also improved the multi-hit consistency of light neutral air, which before this move was pretty useless, as it really couldn't carry opponents at all and work as a multi-carry option, which generally he didn't need before as he had charged up air. Having this move kind of replaces the use of charged up air. So you can get combos, you can use this to drag people across the stage, but it's not going to be doing a ton of damage or killing by itself like charged up air did. So overall, I think it's a healthy change and replacement to game plans he previously had, with new moves and seeing a new variety from this character. One other big change they made to Aang was the reduced momentum kept after slime canceling up special, as well as increasing the hit lag when rising both on hit and on block, as well as slightly increasing startup on dive and decreasing the block push from dive from 1.0 to 0.7. These changes should make Aang a lot healthier. Another rework was in the way of Korra. Korra had a weight reduction as well from 1.05, which is fairly heavy, to 0.97. The reworks start with her forward special, which no longer can be held to travel further and has been reworked to a short burst forward, almost like a free slime dash, but a little less distance. They also reworked light down air by greatly increasing the forward detection distance to spawn the earth bending hazard. So the rocks that would spawn when she hit the ground now spawn when she's very high off the ground. Korra now has slight impulse upward when spawning the rocks below, and this is bypassed if you hold down. So as long as you're holding down, they fixed an issue with her charge down air, where the air stall limit was not refreshing when landing, as well as increased the hit lag from 6 to 16, which should make things more reactable. They also made her charge up air reversible, which is good to see, adds more variety, as well as giving her light forward air with the fire version more base knockback and decrease the knockback gain. One huge buff this patch so far was they completely reworked light dash. The light dash attack now has this more consistent chain between each hit, as it is a multi-hit dash attack, and light dash attack now can be comboed into itself about 3 times or more depending on the cast member you are comboing on. And I will say I'm not necessarily a fan of this change. It makes Korra way less interesting in my opinion. I think that this change maybe makes her better, definitely, but it also makes her a lot less interesting, as this is such a strong option that any Korra player should be using a ton of dash attack now. And before it was good, but now it's like almost defining as a character, which I don't think was the intention. They were just trying to fix a move that maybe didn't work as well as it should have been, but maybe in doing so caused a new can of worms to be opened for this character, who already, before the rework, was very good. Jimmy now can act out of up special without jumping, which is an insane buff to this character. Before being able to act out of up special, Jimmy would either have to jump or use a bar of slime to cancel out of his up special when jump was not available. Now, Jimmy can simply do up special and then instantly do any aerial to act out of it. Honestly, I feel like this is a negative patch, even if it is generally supposed to be a buff to the character, and even if it's cool that you can do some of these options, it almost feels harder to control Jimmy now because you have to be more careful by accidentally mashing a button like an attack, when normally you just wait for your jump to come out and then you can throw out the option. Both meta-wise, I'm not a fan of this because it makes this character that is already already seen as very good, way better, but it also just makes Jimmy hard to control, I would say casually. Maybe reconsider reverting this, but it is really cool, at least for a little bit, depending on how long it stays around. So while it's here, have some fun with this rework for Jimmy Neutron. Speaking of reworks for Jimmy, Goddard also got some reworks using Jimmy's taunt. Goddard now takes 44 frames to explode, and the hitbox size is slightly increased. Before, when Goddard would explode, it would be an instant explosion, whereas now, Goddard pulsates a couple times before finally exploding, and this hitbox along with it, each pulse, also exists. It kind of stuns you, but it allows you to still like SDI out or DI out of it, or maybe even dash out if it's low to the ground. But regardless of that, it definitely makes Goddard ping pong combos not possible, or at least way harder to set up, because you have to plan for that 2 ping or 3 ping pulsate before your opponent actually gets launched back to you. So that's something to keep in mind. Danny Phantom got slightly nerfed as well, with things like the ice projectile getting nerfed on light down air. They changed things about his neutral special to have less block stun, as well as they removed the momentum capabilities that he'd get from using back air into forward air. And that is a huge change, because it means his movement actually has to be real neutral. It can't just be a skip of neutral into a funny movement option into a 0 to death. So this character, while still good, definitely deserved to be toned down in the movement aspect, because the amount of options he had, as well as the ease at which he could get in on people, was ridiculous. One of the last few giant reworks that were left in this huge patch to NASB2 is the entirety rework of Zim as a whole. Zim had a ton of problems, both in the bug department as well as just in his inherent design. Gur was so weak that most hits from a singular move of any character could potentially kill Gur in an instant. This also meant that because Zim was tied to Gur for their recovery for up special, it meant that when there was no Gur available, which was pretty much all the time, Zim would be left stranded with just a third jump. And when you only have one in the air plus this, it really meant that Zim couldn't recover very well. What they've done to Zim is that Zim has now been given increased distance for up special with and without Gur. They added the ability to hold or tap B to just briefly hover during up special without Gur. So they effectively gave Zim a float when they don't have Gur online. The only downside to this, in my opinion, is that when you use this option, Zim actually goes into free fall after you've finished using up the fuel you have, or if you let go for too long of a period, which honestly is kind of a drag. I was hoping that maybe you'd be able to act and jump out of it. I'm not entirely sure that's even the case for this. Maybe this is a good rework. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask some of the Zim mains what they think of it. Now for the specific reworks they did to Gur, which again, this is a long list of changes for one character. But Gur now receives knockback when hit, like an NPC or actual characters. Before, Zim would just take the hit, take knockback like a normal character, and Gur would just kind of be stuck there, right? Now, they fall back with you if you both get hit. And that means that Gur won't always just be excessive combo food when hit. For instance, when you play against a Grand McGurdy, if you didn't move Gur yourself, or if you were in the hit stun when you get hit, they could just throw out multiple forward strongs and instantly kill Gur. But now, since they take knockback, the character actually gets knocked back away from Granny after one hit like a normal character would, meaning that they actually survive longer. They also increase the amount of health Gur has, which they claim is due to them compensating for the fact that they receive knockback now. But I actually think that this was also in tandem with helping this character survive longer in general. So they have the knockback, which helps them survive longer already, as well as the stamina addition, which means that they'll actually live way longer now, which I think is a great change. Grand McGurdy also received a huge update from her previous iterations, and I and other Gerties all think that this character is actually better now than when she was prior in previous patches, which is crazy to say. She did receive a weight reduction from 1.03 to 0.5. She can have 2 items out at once. She now has a 0% chance to pull a holdable item if she already has one in her hand, meaning that you can effectively manipulate the RNG. They also for some reason made it so that balloons rise slower, and I think maybe that's so that you can't spam as many items very quickly, but it's hard to say why. I don't know if that's not really like a nerf, but maybe it's just a way to manipulate RNG. They also buffed her up special with the range, so now it's easier to grab ledges with both the normal and slime version. They also increased the startup frames, so now the move is slower on startup for Grand McGurdy. That forward strong was extremely fast at frame 17 startup. Now it is at frame 23. Her down charge, they also changed to have a decreased sweet spot for damage, as well as a decreased damage on the sour spot. So now that move, which already was very good, is effectively nerfed. All of her damage across the board seems a little nerfed, so I'd say overall, on all of her moves, it is kind of a nerf, but I would say the recovery changes, as well as the addition of this new item pull, make her a different beast than before. El Tigre also had quite a lot of changes as well. They reworked the light forward air hitboxes so that they'd be weaker on the last active frames, as well as one big one they did, which was make him have an easier and more realistic recovery. Instead of bonking his head, he actually can survive for a long time and actually snap to ledges when you're recovering. It allows him to actually be played like a character in a platform fighter and not just a character that can't recover unless you're a top player. This rework, as well as a neutering and toning down of a lot of his general really good options, means that he's still a great character, but now they've compensated and made it fair, both for the players that want to recover with him, which is everybody, as well as made it more fun to play against him or as him. So I think overall all these changes were very good. Jenny received 2 big reworks. Jenny received a change to Slime Special Forward. So now for her EX Slime Special, she can use the hammer, but not with the projectile. Before, when you'd use EX Hammer, the move would have projectiles that were shot out. Now, it is a faster setup that the move can be used as a combo finisher tool for Jenny's combo game, and it gives her a new way to use slime that she literally couldn't before, which is really awesome to see. They also, for Jenny, made it so that when you use the down EX special, her moves make it so that she uses, instead of multiple lasers like she would normally, now she gets one giant laser that can be used to finish combos or for ledge guarding, giving her a new option for ledge guarding, which is really cool to see. It's awesome that they are able to give these options to characters this late into the game, so I hope to see more reworks and additions like this for characters that maybe don't have too fun of options in the future. Zuko also got some quality of life changes, and while they aren't life-changing, they pretty much make his kit work better and more cohesive around everything, and overall, it's a really cool change to see. Mr. Krabs finally also got some changes. For one, he had some nerfs and some buffs. Generally, he's a bit faster in his first level, making him not as much of a sitting duck when he doesn't have money. They also made his hitboxes match the visuals much better, as well as giving him a new frame 5 grab to make it easier for you to grab opponents and get them off of you so that you can actually get your money quicker. The nerf they gave him, though, as good as all of that sounds, is that they made it so that when Mr. Krabs uses side special, if you block it, whatever version he was on, it'll interrupt the animation and stop him from continuing the combo, leaving him in a punishable state even when you don't parry. So just doing a simple block will make it easier and counter it if you are fighting against Mr. Krabs. There actually is a risk-reward factor to throwing out that option, which, in my opinion, I think is really good. What do you think of all these changes? There were so many more for this patch, as well as Rocksteady and all of the additions to single and multiplayer. So there's just so much to talk about with this game, and it's really cool to see all of the changes to the game. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section, and if you'd like to see me talk about more stuff related to the patch, as well as maybe talk about a character that I didn't cover in this patch, let me know which one you'd like to see me talk about in the comment section below. And if you're watching this when it comes out, I likely am streaming on Twitch.tv and YouTube. I'll be playing as Rocksteady, as well as playing Squad Battle. So if you'd like to find me and get some games, just find my live stream. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you all in the next video.